What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 65 of my Total Warhammer 3 modded Kroq-Gar campaign. So as we saw last time, Tic-Tac-Toe took flight yet again, obliterating the forces of Grom the Paunch outside of Massive Forcal, sacking it, and, well, it'll allow us to take the place and then hopefully sell it to our Wood Elf friends next turn. We acquired a massive amount of money last episode, which we need to prepare for the endgame scenario, so we'll probably be using pretty much all of it, though we will be acquiring a little bit more before the turn is over. Namely, we have a couple of battles to go. A couple of them will have to be manual and a couple will have to be cinematic. For example, the last fight against the 1,000 Maws, and they're fairly decent stack and garrison here together. Kroq-Gar, or Gorok rather, will finish them off for good. First of all, though, let us get to Henuin to take out the Chamber of Visions. We can't auto-resolve this because it apparently will end one of our poor chameleon stalkers. This actually isn't too bad of a force now that I look at it. And this one's worthy of a cinematic battle as well. I mean, I guess we haven't seen Henuin fight. Yeah, you know what, since we haven't seen him fight, and even though he will fight in the future, maybe we fight this one cinematically, just for fun. So here we go as well. Alrighty, here we go, our first proper debut battle for Henuin. Should be a pretty fun time, and it's nice for him to actually get a fight going. Obviously, this is not his actual army in the sense that we're going to completely be swapping out the units that are in this army, but at the very least, a decent amount of skinks and Kroq-Gars are here, and while the Kroq-Gars won't remain, the skinks certainly will. I'd love to see the red crests with shields in combat, and even though they are, in theory, should be weaker than the two-handed ones, at least in theory, because they're buffed by Henuin a crazy amount, their stats are pretty darn crazy as well. And their armor's pretty good at 60, and that's without the Skink Chiefs buffing them up with additional armor and physical resistance, unless I'm mistaken. You have 10. Not too bad, we can certainly get it better as well, because, well, we've seen what Chameleon can do. Anyway, in terms of deployment, I did decide to deploy all of our Chameleon, Skinks, and Stalkers over in this corner, but unfortunately, one of the enemy units of Knights decided to move out here and pretty much immediately found them. And what the heck? Why do the Empire Knights look... Well, that's weird. A broken texture on the Empire Knights? I thought these were Knights of War for a second. I wonder if anything else was broken. These get... It seems like all the silver... Oh, metal. The metallic silver texture has turned all black. Oh, actually, this one's okay. Okay, that's odd. Haven't seen that happen before. I don't know why that's happening. Kind of interesting, though. In fact, this whole map is a little bit weird. What the heck is this? Why are there a bunch of floating rocks in the middle of the trees here? This doesn't look right with the trees growing through them, and these ones are just, like, floating up above and... Yeah, this is clearly... I think whoever was making the map maker just, like, left a texture here, maybe forgot about it, or object, rather, and forgot about it because it's, like, right in the middle of the trees. And we can also see that the rocks are here, but the Knights and the Skinks are actually moving through them. This definitely shouldn't be here. Well, an odd start to the battle, but it's a start nonetheless. Hopefully our Chameleon Skinks will hold long enough to destroy the texturally screwy Empire Knights, so we are going to get some, hopefully, support from our other units. In the meantime, it looks like the enemy lord has decided to actually charge Henuin on his mount. This seems like a terrible idea, as he's going to get absolutely wrecked here. This is also a Huntsman General Lord who's already at half HP versus Henuin, whose stats are pretty darn decent. They're not Kroq-Gar level, perhaps, but they're pretty okay. And the lord, the enemy lord, is not so okay no more. Alrighty, in the meantime, while Henuin is doing that, he's also engaging in a little bit of spell work. A Flock of Doom comes down on the biggest blob of enemies we could find, followed up by a burning alignment from that Engine of the Gods. And there we go, and cutting a nice swath of burning destruction through the enemy ranks there. I'm actually surprised that Daemonhunters doesn't have like a giant Ark of Sotek instead of a Engine of the Gods. Not even like a regular Ark of Sotek, but like a much bigger one, or maybe like a Steg with an Ark of Sotek rather than a Bastillodon. That would have been nice. I think, wait, is Daemonhunters the only... is he the only Lizardman whose mount doesn't have a name? Tic-Tac-Toes has a name, Maws has a name, Kroq-Gar's has a name, Gorog doesn't have a mount. Am I missing someone? Xhotl doesn't have a mount, I believe? Well, Daemonhunters got robbed. He deserves a name for his, for this little guy. Anyway, let's see how the battle is going, and quite interestingly, as we can see, one of our chiefs here has been very badly beat up, dropping down to about, I don't know, 15%, 10% HP, and Daemonhunters himself, surprisingly, dropped from full to about 33%. Why? It's all in the war wagons. In fact, the rest of the army isn't dealing much damage whatsoever, but this unit of war wagons has 14,000 damage to their name already. Nothing comes even close in terms of comparison and in terms of what the enemy has been dealing, so great job to them. On the bright side though, great job to our Xhotl, because they did manage to bail out the units of Chameleon Stalkers, rushing the Empire Knights, ignoring the rest of the enemy army, and preventing the enemies from killing off our Chameleons. The war wagons may be a thorn in our side, but we do have a couple of units of Cold One Spear Riders. Man, this army certainly has a lot of different types of units, which does make it kind of fun. Maybe I'll make another army later on that's more sort of a mixed bag of different type of units. I guess the problem with that type of army is the fact that, well, you can't buff every type of unit, but that's only a problem for most lords. Slann, because of the way their red line works, buff everything, so this would be a decent type of army for a Slann to run. I'll probably give that some thought. And hey, there's our red-crested skinks with their shields, facing off against Empire men with shields, though should be outstatting them by a pretty massive amount, so you gotta give this one to the little red crests. Alrighty, though they are surrounded by some Sigmarite disciples as well. They're about to get some help from some Xhotl who move in and start dishing out real damage. And I do believe the battle should be just about over. In fact, everybody looks to be riding out. There's a couple more units fighting, spears and halberdiers. Man, gotta be impressed with that unit of war wagons, though. They certainly dished out a lot of damage. They nearly brought down a hero and a lord. Which is appropriate. I've been very impressed with them in my own Karl Franz campaign and have been using them quite a bit, especially in follower armies, but even a couple of them in a single army work very well as single unit snipers. Before, back when they were released, I didn't really like them that much, but in the SFO version at least, they're a lot closer to being as functional as war sleds are. They may not have melee capabilities, but like the war sleds do, or the buffs that they do, though I guess they do replenish ammunition, but their single entity sniping is fantastic. They're almost like Jezzail's, just shorter range, but much higher mobility. And yeah, they're definitely occupying a similar position to Jezzail's and to war sleds. Perhaps light war sleds rather than the heavy war sleds would be the better comparison. Anyway, I like them, and they're clearly dangerous, and we'll have to watch out for them in the future, perhaps charge them as a priority target. But at the end of the day, a close victory sees Daemonhunters victorious, and another of Wolfheart's territories return, well, our own, I suppose, territories return to us. Alrighty, I'm actually quite glad we fought that. That turned out better than I was anticipating, and certainly worth fighting. The biggest threat on the field by far was that one unit of war wagons, 15,000 damage, and nearly bringing down both the Skink Chief and Daemonhunters. Can't underestimate those units, and we've definitely seen them dish out a lot of damage to our Pterodon Riders before, so hardly surprising that they did fairly well here as well. 115 kills on our Blessed Source spears as well, and I think they won with regards to the infantry, if we don't count the Chameleon Stalkers, who managed to edge them out by 1 kill, though by the looks of it, everybody did fairly similarly in terms of kill counts, so everybody did well. 77,000 damage as well onto Henwin, very respectable between that burning alignment as well as his repeated uses of the Flock of Doom against the relatively weaker armored enemies, meant that he was able to dish out some good damage. We're gonna occupy the place as it is going to come back to us, and Assault Expert for Tehenwan, nice. Terrifying Muscovy we obviously don't care about, and what do we have here? Okay, so obviously we don't need this, or, well, I guess we could keep the Sacred Spawning Caverns, but we don't need the Pterodon Hatchery, at least we don't need it here, nor the spawn pools of the lower castes. We also are able to build something at the Chamber of Visions. Lord Recruit Rank +1, Magic Item Drop Chance +5, Faction Wide, that's very nice. It's only +5, mind you, so it's not a crazy amount, but, well, stacking that as much as possible is definitely worth our time. Hopefully Tehenwan will be able to reach the Sentinels of Xhotl next turn, though we shall have to see. The thing is, I'd love for Tehenwan to go north and continue fighting Wolfheart's faction, but he does have to go south and trade units around. His army is just what we got from the other faction, just cobbled together a bunch of random units. Also, I would like to get some more Skink Chiefs on the field. I just don't know where exactly we can recruit them from at this point in time, at least in this particular area. Were we about to delete something here somewhere that could get Skink Chiefs? Because Tehenwan will need Skink Chiefs. Now we can't even get Skink Chiefs here. Oh, this is a tier 1 spawn pools of the lower caste, isn't it? Ugh, okay, do we have any spawn pools at all in Lustria? Oh, we may not. Oh. And if we don't, we might want to get one. Wait. Ah, there it is. Spawn pools of the Braves. Okay, so here we can get Skink Chiefs, yes. Vigorous, Perceptive, and Weapon Master. The thing is, well, these are all fine. We need to get Skink Master. In fact, we need to get several of them that are Skink Masters. So I guess we can keep the ones that are in his army for now, and then when we get some Skink Masters showing up, we'll get him them Skink Masters. What do you have? Oh, you're both survivors, right? I was about to say you're both vigorous, but yeah, you're both survivors. It's fine. It's not the best, but it's fine. We'll probably also want to redo their traits / stats. I'll do it later, though. Don't want to waste the time doing that right now. Anyway, that was a nice little fight. What do we have to do other than that? Alright, Hydroxyanthopurin, aka Pyroxy, go once again into another ambush. I just really hope that you don't get foiled for like the 50th time. Come on, Vlad, look at Castle Drakenhof, besiege it, or does he... Oh, maybe perhaps he thinks that his army is too weak, so he doesn't even want to try to attack Castle Drakenhof, which is why this isn't working. You know what? If it doesn't work one more time, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trade it away. We're not going to keep it anyway to one of these factions, and then we'll just send Pyroxy up north to start dealing with Chaos, because we can't be waiting around here forever while Chaos rampages through Kislev as they're currently doing. And I guess to some degree through the Empire's territory as well. Alright. Don't want to be defending our north as well as whatever else we've got going on during the endgame scenario. Next up, U3. Why is it always you 3? 10, 16, and 20. I guess you could attack because you're the highest level. Oh, on the other hand... what do we have here? Oh, a bunch of Noller Trappers who do have anti-air this time. Okay, fine. So it means you, I guess, will have to wait until everybody else is on the field. We'll attack with... probably Carnosaur Man. Though you are a perfect spawn, so I doubt that they could kill you, at least not easily. Honestly, it probably won't matter all that much who we attack with. Let's go here. And let's go here. This one we can either auto-resolve or possibly manually fight, depending on... Oh, you're gonna run. Okay, I wasn't expecting that he'd run. And oh, you're gonna run far, damn. I was hoping to actually get the Valley of the Horns at the same time. But apparently that's not going to be a possibility. Okie dokie. Well, that's annoying. Oh. I really wish that you... Really? Okay, there we go. He shouldn't be able to essentially have his zone of control overlap a city's zone of control. It's kind of silly. We control the city, so yeah, just game, you're being silly. You go here. And then you attack. Like so. Yes, okay. That'll draw everybody in. I was concerned that it wouldn't for a sec. And auto-resolve will kill some of the garrison, but we don't care about that. Yeah, let's just do that. As usual, the Basti got hurt, but it always gets hurt. Let's take the money, because that's what we're doing these days. Enemy killed in battle, enemy killed in battle, and can we reach the Valley of the Horns? Yeah, definitely not. Alrighty, but we will be able to next turn. So let's move you up. Oh. You guys should probably all be close to each other, so can't move too far. Oh, wow, that thing got hurt. Badly, too. Kind of unexpected. You, I guess, can go into, I don't know, channeling stance. Go into channeling stance, doesn't really matter. I'm pretty sure they can reach the Valley of the Horns either way. I'm still kind of undecided on whether we keep this entire territory, or whether we just trade it all away to our allies. Because once again, I don't think we'll ever bother building up too much of it. It's just that the Great Hall of Greases does have a gold mine, which does reduce our upkeep for Temple Guard and Kroq-Gar. That makes a decent amount of cash. I believe these things don't do anything. Yeah, the tusks, yeah, they don't do anything. Maybe we'll keep the Great Hall of Greases if nothing else. But then everything else around it will just probably trade away. Obviously not the Dragon Isles. Anyway, that is done. Now what else do we have? Oh, right, we had to have a manual little fight with Kroq-Gar at Shang-Yang. Yeah, because it wants to kill our poor Basti with Reeve of Crystal. Alright, let's fight this manually super quick. I'm just gonna speed through this. Maybe just send only a few units forward as well. Not like the enemy has any kind of chance whatsoever here, it's just that, well, we can't have our Reeve of Crystal dying to this nonsense. Hopefully the enemy tries to actually defend the gate, and ooh, I believe this is a settlement where there are no towers in the center. Cathay has several of these types of settlements, which does work against them, as you just deploy where the enemy has no defenses every time. Makes it a lot easier, and yes indeed that's the case. Alright, start deployment, everybody else can... Well, once again we're probably not going to bother sending the Saurus and just have Kroqi, you three. Go in, you can follow them I guess, and yeah, you two casters, follow them in. Maybe cast a few things, we shall see. Yeah, we could send in the Feral Stags as well with the casters. Do we need anybody else? I don't think so. That's it, start battle. And go for the gate, max out that speed. And, oh right, they have a tower to bring down. That's okay. We'll bring it down by capping it. And it's going to take some time to break through the gate, but, you know, it is Carnosaurs attacking it, so they should be able to do it without too much issue, I would hope. And how are we doing? I feel like they're actually getting in each other's way, which is slowing them down in their capabilities of gate destruction, but whatever. I also still maintain that Lord Kroq should absolutely be able to insta-kill a gate whenever he damn well pleases. Can you Burning Alignment on top of a wall? No. I find it silly that some things can't be, well... certain things it's silly that they can't hit a wall. Like Burning Alignment is a beam out of the sky. That should absolutely be able to hit a wall. I don't see how that's any different. I can see how if like a wind sort of thing picks up from the ground and it doesn't hit the units on top of the wall, it makes at least some sense, but the Burning Alignment is definitely not one of the sense-making things. Anyway, you guys go in and start attacking those Chaos Knights. I guess the rest of you could just sit here for a little bit. I do want to cast a few things, though. Let's get a maxed out Curse of the Midnight Wind on everybody. Let's also get a maxed out Shield and Deliverance of Vits Tier 3. Do we want to wait until the enemy moves in? Hey, no, let's cast the Tier 2 for now. Maybe a Tier 1 on these Chaos Knights, and then we'll do the rest. Also, Kroqi, you can buff yourself and others. Do we want to cast a Burning Alignment? It's not like it's any kind of threat to our allies here. And Burning Alignment 1, or rather, Deliverance of Vits 1. Here comes a spell. And yeah, absolutely silly that this can't be auto-resolved. But what can you do? Ooh, is that a hero? Yes, go kill the hero. Make this go by a little bit faster. Alrighty, and I'm just waiting for all of these Chaos Warriors to come down. And probably not even any need to send these guys in. Also, where's the Reeve of Crystal? Let's not send you into combat, we can send you nearby. Anyway, Kroq and Karnos. They just keep working through all this. Between the two perfect spawns and Kroq being very difficult to kill, I doubt that the enemy has any kind of chance. Do we have any more Deliverance of Xhotl up? Yeah, we do. Pop that right there. Though occasionally it seems the animation of the Carnosaurs rather, just jumping through the enemy lines is kind of working against us a little bit. Also, you guys go chase down that Lord who is nearly dead. Time for the Chaos Trolls up next. You want to pop a Hand of the Gods there. I'll probably speed it up in a few seconds as well. Let's cast a Ruinous Thunderbolt up here, which I'm 100% sure can go on top of walls game. Thank you. And now we can speed it up, I think. We've done a decent amount of damage to the enemy, and your routing, you trolls, are about done for. Oh man, are these guys really not going to come down? Ooh, some halberds, alright. Well, let's see how quickly they die with another Deliverance of Xhotl. It's a Deliverance of Xhotl kind of day, I guess. There we go. And we usually don't get to cast that spell all that much because of the fact that Lord Kroq is sufficiently slow that he usually never gets to the combat fast enough. And oh, is that a giant? And indeed, it is a giant. Alrighty, well, work through those halberds and speed it back up to max. I think these guys aren't going to bother coming down. And the trolls are coming back. Well, go after the giant now. And everybody just move in. Screw it. Oh, and of course, as soon as we move in, these guys move in, which is what I wanted to keep away from, so that Lord Kroq can go. And the Reeve of Crystal is not fighting. Alright, well, I'll kill the rest of this. It feels so weird to play it at max speed. I always want to talk even faster than when I play at max speed, even though I already talk fairly quickly. Alright, anyway, keep charging, everybody. Lord Kroq, you want to pop another, I don't know, one of these shields? Everybody move on in, and as soon as these guys charge in, let's pop a maxed out Deliverance. That should break them apart. Let's see. About half HP off them, and there we go. That was just not auto-resolvable. This is exactly why we need a second Reeve of Crystal. You gotta take him in twos. This is really the only thing gating this army from constantly auto-resolving, because we could always heal the two could heal each other back up in battle, where right now it can't heal itself, and therefore it remains hurt, and therefore it's always kind of an issue during the auto-resolve. Alright, come on now, we still have a proper cinematic battle to fight, or a second cinematic battle to fight right after this. Which is going to be that last battle against Ricard's faction, the Thousand Maws. Alrighty, there it is, and we are going to sack the place for more money, and then we'll trade it to our friends. Yes, it's a green territory because this is the Warpstone Desert, but I'm not big on holding territory here. It's too far away. We're gonna occupy. We can't build a special building here, right? No, we can't, it's just spices. So we'll trade it to an ally, and we're not going to waste money repairing it, let them do so. And if they lose it, we'll take it back again, and then we'll sell it back to them again. I take it we took all their money last time, so we can't give it to them right now? Yeah. Wait, +4? That's odd. Should be way more than that for this. Huh. I guess possibly because it's ruined? Okay, I'm going to repair it, but I'm going to be salty if it's still worth barely anything. Let's build a spice market because it's super cheap to build. And let's build a skink favelas, just a bunch of cheap buildings. And oh, nah, I was about to say build the walls, but no. Actually, we can't even build a spice market because it's going to take 2 turns. Just going to do stuff that takes 1 turn to make the territory worth more money to the AI. Yeah, and I'd love to build the walls because the AI might be stupid and not build them, but we're not going to wait 5 turns to sell that thing off, so yeah. Alrighty, now that that's done, I guess it's time for our cinematic fight. Gorok, that is you. You do have a few levels. Do we need to get them? How many points? Just the 1. Not a big enough deal to worry about. Skink Priest, though, you do have spells to cast, and 3 points to apply. That we can do. Evasion, and Well, let's go for Earthing and Magical Reserves. I don't particularly care about the transformation of Kadan, and while the Curse of Enra here could certainly be useful here, I'm not super concerned about Gorok's army at the current time. Anyway, that's about it. Let us head into it and destroy Rakarth's faction for good. A Pyrrhic victory, apparently. That's what I like to see, so maybe they'll give us a proper fight. There we go. Alrighty, here we go. Gorok's army getting closer to being complete and having a fairly large amount of various dinos on the field. The Skink Chief won't be here for much longer, but I probably will keep the Oracle and the Pale Death here. I kind of like the idea of the Pale Death in Gorok's army, unless we move it to somebody else's, like the Henwins, or not to Henwin, and Oxyotls later on, if we can actually manage to confederate him, which I guess remains to be seen. Anyway, the battle has not yet begun, not so much by virtue of the fact that the enemy isn't in range, which I believe their artillery should be, but the fact that the enemy can't actually see us. They deployed all the way back here, which isn't the worst place to deploy, but on this map, even though they do have this impassable terrain as a pseudo wall, this hill is large enough for any army behind that hill to be completely invisible. So we're approaching under cover of the hill line, and then we will be able to approach them further under cover of these trees, which is actually working out fairly great for our slow-moving Saurus, as this is our slowest army. Gorok will probably get a couple more Saurus Scarvets in here to buff his Saurus further, as he's going to lean into them a little bit more than the than Kroq-Gar is, the Saurus infantry rather than any kind of riders. I really like the barding, the armor, well, it's not just barding, but the armor, generally speaking, on the Dark Elven Cold ones. Yeah, Lizards could learn a thing or two. I like how it's, I like how it fully covers the cold one. Do we have any cold ones in this army? I just want to compare the armor. I feel like the Lizardmen armor is a lot of the times a lot more decorative. I guess they're relying on their own scales as armor. And to be fair, cold ones also are have thick, scaly hides as well, so it does make sense. But hey, a little bit of extra armor can't hurt. Anyway, the enemy has spotted at least... Oh, there's a Death Hag. I haven't seen one of those in a while. The enemy has spotted a few of our units. It knows we're here, as it can see our Pterodon Riders with Fire Leech Bolas flying around over the hill, though they haven't yet spotted our main force. To be fair, by the time they do, it will probably be far too late. Unfortunately for the enemy, they've also deployed fairly close to the edge of the map, which will mean if we terrify any units, they're just going to get terrified off of the map. So too bad for them. Alrighty, and the battle will begin with another Flock of Doom, and I say another because most battles seem to begin with a Flock of Doom, and targeting the most enemies that it can. An Overcast this time, and we'll follow up with a non-Overcast shortly. That's a lot of Dark Elf units milling around, and I'm sure that was a fairly decent amount of damage for our Skink Priest. Let's see. He's got 30k damage nearly from a single spell. Yeah, that's definitely very respectable. And he's got more where that came from, I'm sure. Anyway, now the enemy has spotted us, but since they've been milling around foolishly as they have, they are not in a very good position to react to our army. Our Saurus are going to wade into the battle against the Black Ark Corsairs, though the Dinos are just going to push directly through the enemy battle line. Here come the Pterodon Riders, as well as our Carnosaurs. Oh, wow, okay, just bite the screen, why don't you? Scare me. I wasn't expecting that. Anyway, the two Carnosaurs are trying to hunt down the enemy lord, which is looking like it's trying to get away. But the enemy army is being absolutely overrun. As we can see, a lot of enemies have already been shock damaged, essentially, by so much units charging into them. Although the enemy is doing a relatively decent job at actually trying to focus down our Pterodon Riders with Fire Leech Bolas. We know better than anyone at this point how effective those units are. are, so good on the AI to actually consider them a threat. Otherwise, all the enemy range and melee units, not counting these three, are being surrounded and kept from any further range fire. Gorok is trying to, or was trying to advance, but is now just going to go ahead and fight this feral mammoth instead, because, well, he's too slow to actually catch anyone. Gorok is like one of the... In my head, I think of this as the Greasus problem, in that Greasus is a very strong lord when he can actually get into combat, but he's so slow, and, well, I guess Greasus also has the major problem of being very susceptible to range fire, because he's a bigger target, on top of being slow, when Gorok is much more invincible than Greasus is. Gorok is sort of like, you know, the snail, the death snail that follows you, because you can't stop him, and he'll slowly get to you, and you'll probably run out of ammunition long before you kill him. But Greasus not so much. Anyway, it looks like Gorok has badly damaged that feral war mammoth, and since we cannot charge it, we'll simply have the Oracle or the Pale Death chase it down. Death Hag tried to fight Gorok for a few seconds when the Murderous Prowess or Murderous Mastery for her activated, but looks like she shattered as well. And a few shades remain all the way back here, and these were the ones that were focusing down our Fire Leech Bolas, but that should be pretty much it for the last stand of the 1,000 Maws. And considering how much damage their faction has taken so far, they certainly did not bring 1,000 Maws to this battle. I saw a single unit of bears and then that mammoth. So what, like, I don't know, like 18 Maws or something? Does the mammoth count as having... Was that a chaos mammoth? Was that a mutated mammoth or not? Because the mutated mammoth has like a, I don't know, scary thing maw on its trunk as well. So it at least doubles up, and hey, it probably has a few more maws randomly all over it because chaos. Anyway, it's a decisive victory, and with that, we will be seeing Rakarth no more. At the very least, we will be seeing his territories no more. I think this should destroy the faction unless I'm mistaken, but let's find out for sure. Alrighty, there we go. Certainly not a difficult fight, and we didn't suffer too much in the way of casualties there either. Really, the enemy didn't do itself any favors by deploying all the way at the back of the map in the way that they did, as a lot of their units just managed to, or ended up running off the map, and that didn't help them. Plus, they weren't able to open up nearly as much of a sort of distance between our units to make good use of their range and their artillery and such. And on top of that, the hill allowed us to advance hidden towards them, so a lot of the range of the artillery went to waste as well, and they had 3 pieces of Reaper Bolters, so yeah. Too bad for them. Well, too bad, so sad. They're dead now. Occupy, and faction destroy... Yeah, free wardrobe. Faction destroyed? Huh? Wait. They're alive? How are they alive? They're not alive. Actions encountered, world events. Is this a world event? I don't see faction destroyed. Maybe they are alive. Maybe they have an army out there somewhere. Oh, they have a Black Ark somewhere. Yes, they have this. Huh. So they can survive on a single Black Ark, eh? And the Black Ark is immune to attrition. I wonder, will it try to blockade the Blood Hall? What will happen? Is it capable of recruiting when it doesn't have anything left? Would be annoying to have to hunt it down, but either way, even though it may be annoying, we'll have to deal with it, but we'll have to probably deal with it next time or another time, as we are once again out of it. I'm going to call the episode here. With that, it's a good place, though, because Illustria is pretty much now ours. This is going to bug me for the rest of this campaign. Hey, hopefully we can buy the Sentinels of Time from these guys. It would have actually been lovely if Fregnus here took Dusk Peak so we could take it back and trade it to them, but anyway, next time there's a good chance we'll have to defend Schlansek against Fregnus here. Tehenuan's going to move southward through the Sentinels and hopefully down here to essentially make his army whole. We will continue hunting Village and the and the Blessed Dread, generally speaking, with Kroq-Gar, though hopefully we'll be able to get help soon out of Copperaf and, well, hopefully a few more dinos in there when we actually get them, and then we'll actually probably be spending a decent chunk of our money in next episode, as well as we do have a lot of buildings to build and prep to do. So stay tuned for all that. Don't forget to leave a like and comment. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.